I came by today to see you. Oh, I had to let you know. If I knew the last time that I held you was the last time, I'd have held you and never let go. Oh, it's kept me awake nights wondering. I lie in the dark just asking why. I've always been told you won't be called home until it's your time. I guess heaven was needing a hero, somebody just like you, brave enough to stand up for what you believe and follow it through. When I try to make it make sense in my mind, the only conclusion I come to is that heaven was needing a hero like you. I remember the last time I saw you. Oh, you held your head up proud. I laughed inside when I saw how you were standing out in the crowd. You're such a part of who I am. Now that part will just be void. No matter how much I need you now, heaven needed you more. 'Cause heaven was needing a hero, somebody just like you, brave enough to stand up for what you believe and follow it through. When I try to make it make sense in my mind, the only conclusion I come to is that heaven was needing a hero like you. Yes, heaven was needing a hero, and that's you.
First of all, I want to thank the family for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of Melinda. It is my privilege and honor to be able to do so. Melinda Gail Flury, she lived at 812 East Waring Street in Waycross, Georgia. Date of birth was Saturday, April 17th, 1965. Place of birth was Soberton, Georgia. The date of death was Thursday, December 3rd of 2020. We all have a born-on date, and we all have an expiration date. But the main thing that matters, a lot of people don't think about it, is the dash in the middle. Even though it's little, in size, it represents the lifespan of a person or thing. And it's what you do in that little dash that makes the difference. Whether you choose to accept the Lord or not to accept the Lord. Changes the direction on which way you go when your appointment time of death has come. Whether you go to heaven or whether you go to hell. So the place of death was in Waycross, Georgia, age 55 years, 7 months, and 16 days. The date of the funeral is Monday, December 7th, 2020, at 2 o'clock here at Music's Funeral Home. Survivors list is the daughter, Melissa Brada, husband, Andrew, of Blackshear, and a son, Byron Morgan, wife, April, of Valdosta, Georgia. Got 6 grandchildren, Braden Morgan, Karis Brada, Micah Brada, Dawson Morgan, Brant Morgan, and Haven Morgan. And of course we have the lovely sister of Joey Flury of Waycross. Former spouse is Brother Wendell Morgan, niece Brooke Griffin, great-nephew Phoenix Griffin. Her foster siblings are Bobby Jean Thompson, Robbie Thompson, and Sherry Thompson. Numerous other relatives. So we can't mention all of them, but we mentioned the ones we needed to mention. But as I was thinking about what to speak on, nothing come to my mind more than what she loved the most. And that's hummingbirds. She loved hummingbirds. Everybody knew that. So I done a little digging. Did you know there's over 330 species of hummingbirds? Almost half the species live around the equator. 24 species visit the U.S. and Canada, and few species remain year-round in the USA. So there's only a few that stick around. You'll see some importance of things as I read different things about a hummingbird that, if you think back, reflected on the way she lived. They have a very high metabolism and must eat at all day long to survive. They consume about half of their body weight in bugs and nectar, feeding every 10 to 15 minutes and visiting over 1,000 to 2,000 flowers throughout the day. Now, keep that in mind, because that'll come back in a minute. When I get to it, I'll let you know. Just keep in mind they visit, not only they feeding every 10, 15 minutes, but they going to 1,000 to 2,000 flowers throughout a day. They are the smallest of all bird species. There is a bee hummingbird, what they call a bee hummingbird, but it's in Cuba. It only weighs 1.95 grams, or about as much as a quarter of a teaspoon of sugar. That's how little. They have the smallest eggs as well. A ruby-throated hummingbird egg is about the size of a pea, and its nest is roughly the size of a half of a walnut shell. Pretty small, ain't it? Only female hummingbirds build the nest and will lay only 2 eggs. Y'all see any resemblance? She had 2 children. I hate to say this, but it was in the research. The male hummingbird is not involved in raising the young. Some travel 2,000 miles a year. They also gain 25 to 40% of their body weight before they start migrating during late winter. Let me flip the page here. They generally fly alone, often on the same path they've flown earlier in their life. You see how good their brain is? They go back, they can fly the same routes and know it. They fly By day, when sources of nectar are most abundant, they fly low, which allows them to see and stop. Have you noticed hummingbirds can fly and stop? And they can stop at the food supplies, flowers and bugs and such things. Research indicates that they can travel as much as 23 miles in one day. That's a lot of miles, ain't it? No other birds can fly like human hummingbirds. They can fly forwards, backwards. They can even go up and down. Check this out, I didn't know. They even can fly upside down. Yeah. They are also only vertebrae capable of hovering for a period of time during their flight. Just like I mentioned a while ago, they can fly and stop. That's what they call hovering. They have been clocked at nearly 30 miles per hour in direct flight. That's pretty fast, ain't it? And more than 45 miles per hour during courtship dives. Okay? Their heart beats from 225 times per minute when it is flying. Its wings beat about 70 times per second. That's a lot of wing flapping, ain't it? 70 times per second. In regular flight and more than 200 times per second while diving. That's even faster. They are one of the few groups of birds that go into what they call torpor. Or torpor. Excuse me, I mispronounced. Torpor is what they call it. And if you need to know what that is, it's a very deep sleep-like state in which metabolic functions are slowed to a minimum and at very low body temperature is maintained. So they can go into what they call kind of like almost like a hibernation stage, but they can't call it hibernation stage because it's not very long times. It's short periods of times. They have metabolic demands and their feathers are poor insulators, so going into torpor allows them to survive when conditions make it impossible to maintain their normal 105-degree Fahrenheit body temperature. Did you know they had a 105-degree Fahrenheit body temperature? So that's why they're able to do that, to maintain those levels, because they have to maintain those levels in order to be able to survive. They can go into the torpor any time of the year when temperature and food conditions demand it. If torpor lasted for long periods, they would call it hibernation, which I didn't explain to you. Now here's the part I really didn't want to mention, but it's there. But it's kind of harsh, really. And I found it surprising what the male does to be able to do the courtship. The male hummingbirds gets mean at mating season. To prove their dominance, male hummingbirds will bob and weave and then use their needle-like beaks like knives to stab each other in the throat. They stab them in the throat. Wow. A violent way to get a mate, ain't it? Just kidding. But that is true. That's true in the research, but I don't mean no harm intended. They hereby, they have a big brain which makes up to, listen at this, their brain makes up 4.2% of its weight. That's a lot of brain, ain't it? Proportionally, that's the largest of any bird, any of the birds. They got the largest brain. By comparison, our brains is only 2% of our body weight. And theirs is 4.2. They got 2.2 ahead of us, don't they? Studies have shown that hummingbirds can remember migration routes, like we talked about earlier, and every flower, remember the 1,000 to 2,000? And it says, in every flower they've ever visited. They can remember every flower. They can also figure out how long to wait between visits, so the flowers have time to generate more nectar. That's a good brain, ain't it? That you can go to a flower and figure out you done been there when you can go back. Just like that. That's amazing, ain't it? To me it is. Did you know they can even recognize humans? According to the research, they can. The average lifespan is 5 years, but they have been known to live for more than 10 years. As with any other creature, there are threats to the human bird's survival, some natural and some man-made. That's just like us. We have some things that comes against us naturally, and we have things that comes against us man-made, which helps the process of our appointment time. And everybody, according to the Bible, everybody's got an appointment time with death. The Bible says we was made from the dirt, and we shall return to the dirt. But I found also interesting, too, did you know that a praying mantis has the ability to kill a hummingbird? So, which the praying mantis is good to eat other bugs and stuff, but they have the ability to be able to kill a hummingbird. To me, I've always wanted to catch one, but I was scared what he would do with that needle-like beak. And when I read that about the throat, I said, I ain't messing with him. But did you know some characteristics of a hummingbird and the way she lived her life? It's amazing how that worked out and throughout her lifetime, and now you can reflect back on it and do that. But as far as the memory, us that had the privilege of being with her has memories. And we can go back to those flowers. We can go back to those different places of moments of time where we had good times, bad times. Some darker than others, some brighter than others. We all have the same thing, but just in different ways. But ain't it amazing just how it all worked out? It had to be God's plan. And God's got a plan for each and every one of us. And you know as well as I do, she loved her youngins, loved her grandbabies. Always was excited when Joey was coming to stay with her for a while, and just loved everybody. I got the privilege of carrying her to church at times. We went to Bible studies at times. So I think I've done what I could for her, tried to help her along the way. And I just thank you for the opportunity and the privilege of being able to speak. And I hope you got something from what she loved the most besides the Lord, and that was hummingbirds. Thank you very much.
When the time comes and I'm standing at the river that separates the two worlds that I love, torn between my precious friends and my family, and the place of peace that's waiting up above. Hold my hand and stay there by my side. When I finally step into the tide, celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place, celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. celebrate me home. I have spent most of my life on earth preparing to take the trip from here to heaven's throne, with the shield and word of God to guide me. It's a comfort knowing I am not alone. So when I take my final fleeting breath and fade into the gentle sleep of death, celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place, celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home. No more broken dreams, no more tears to cry. Into my Father's arms I'll fly, I'll fly. So celebrate me home, celebrate me there, celebrate me in that land of wonder where nothing can compare. Celebrate me in that place, celebrate me saved by grace. Don't just sit and weep because I'm gone. Celebrate me home.